Hey, it's Follow Through Time. I'm Pastor Fred. What's the follow through, you might ask? Well, it's where we're looking at the Bible, right? We're grabbing this and we're going to listen to what God is saying and also live it out. And so please subscribe to this if you haven't, and share this with someone around you. Today we're going to be looking at, from the scriptures, Luke 6, verse 38. I'm going to read that right away, right at the front end here. Jesus says this. He says, "Give, and it'll be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you." And so he's saying, what's your mindset as far as what you have? Many of us have a mindset of scarcity. You know what I mean? Like there's not enough to go around. And you'll see this when, that last donut is there, or that last bit of ice cream is in the tub, it's in the freezer, and you're like, oh man. I mean, let's face it, if there were a couple of tubs full of ice cream, you're gonna be like generous. You're like, man, I got tons, right? So that's a mindset where you go, man, there's just more for everybody. But if you're like, I want that, it's mine, and there's only a little bit of it, let's be honest, I mean, we're going to be a lot less likely to share in that point or to give that to somebody else, because when you give it, like it's all gone. And so Jesus said, okay, so what's your mindset when it comes to the love you have in your life, your time, really everything? And that's going to directly affect how you give and what you give. How freely you give or how freely you withhold everything is going to be based on how you see things. So if you think God is kind of holding out on you, and you're just getting a little bit of a drip of what He's got going on, you're going to give accordingly. If you feel like there's just so much and God has just so blessed you and you have so much, and I've talked to so many people who are like this, and it's so cool to listen to them talk, because they're like, man, God has just blessed me and I just want to give and give and give. And Jesus is saying in this passage that if you give, it's actually going to be given to you. Now listen, I want to make sure you don't get this wrong and go, okay, yeah, so I'm going to give so that I get from God. See, that's the opposite of what Jesus is saying. Because then I'm giving for the wrong reason, right? Then I'm giving in order to get. So it's a selfish reason. But He's saying, look, when it's not selfish, and when you just love God and you love the people around you, and you just say, man, He just keeps blessing me, and there's going to continue to be ice cream in the freezer, if you will, that man, I can just give it away. I can just give all that good stuff that God gives, knowing that He says, your good measure, pressed down, shaken together, right? It's not just a little bit in there. He's like jamming it in, and there's just so much there. Kind of running over is how much it is. It's not a trickle. It's just this amazing flow of things that God gives to us. And He's saying, the measure you use, it's going to be measured back to you. How often do we give really, really sparingly, and we're real careful with our time and careful with everything, and we don't want to give because we're afraid that, oh man, it's all going to be taken from me and all of that. He's going like that's how it's actually going to be measured in terms of what you get. And that's just kind of how it works, isn't it? See, God died for us. He rose for us. He's given us all of this and continues to take care of us. Doesn't matter. He's got the things you're worried about. He's got the things you're concerned about, the things you're down about. He's on that. He loves you, and He wants you He wants to help you. And so He wants you to do is to take all of that He's poured into your life and find somebody, and it won't be hard to find somebody that really needs what God has given to you. Because that's the way it works. That's kind of how it's supposed to happen. Not like I take and hoard, but that I'm richly given, and then I give to the people around me. And when I do that, I can know that God's always going to continue to give if my goal and if my motivation is to give to the people around me. He's not going to try to make my pile bigger, but He wants to make a difference in not only in my life, but in the people around me. And so I'm praying for you in this regard today, that we would know, and to have this mindset that God is just going to continue to give to us and give all that we need. All right, have a great one. We'll talk to you next time.